All right, guys, welcome back to another KevCAM night class tonight. Tonight, we are going to be finishing up the What's New for iMachining for 2019 for you guys. Tonight, have Tim Micah helping out with any questions or concerns that come along the way for you guys. Tim, are you with us?
I am. Good evening, everybody.
And unfortunately, Greg is not available right now. He is over in Germany for some Swiss training. So Tim and I looked it up, and it was only 3 o'clock in the morning their time. So we figured, Greg should be here, but
not sure why he's not.
Exactly. No. All right. So I see a lot of our regular guys in here, so I won't go through the same old rigmarole. We will get the ball rolling tonight with kind of where we left off last week with the iMachining. So last week we covered the 4 new options inside. I'll just open up this operation right here. So the 4 new options that are inside of iMachining for grabbing your geometry. And just to kind of refresh here, so we have recognize by face. So this means you can just click on a face. This is recognize by chain. This is just for basically machining the outside perimeter of your part. And then the 4th mode is the legacy iMachining. So it's not going to look at the updated stock. It's not going to do any of the automatic feature recognition stuff. So these 3 are all based off of your stock, where the last one is not. So just kind of refresh anybody that missed last week. Now, kind of where we left off last week is, like I said, we're just covering the new feature recognition, but we didn't really get into the detail of some of the other stuff that they added in for iMachining. And so we'll kind of cover that tonight. So first things first, if you click on the stock tab, it is looking at the automatic stock. Now, what you guys can do is go by just specific operations. So it's not looking at the entire stock, and it's just looking at a specific operation. And it's this STL file right here is actually built off of your updated stock that is shown over here, and that is built off of your Solid Verify. So this is kind of new in there. No different than, like if we were using rest machining or rest iMachining before, but it's automatically put in there for you guys right now. And it's all based off of all these feature recognition, these 3 modes right here. So anything that's going that you may think need to be machined more or maybe less, it's all looking right at this stock definition right here. So that's one thing that they've added in there. Now, another thing that they added in there is cutting only the rest material. With only cutting rest material, we do have the option over here to still do iRest, but there's really no need to anymore because we are constantly looking at that updated stock, and we're not going to cut any geometry that's already been removed. Kind of like when I covered turning, when we do a finishing pass on turning or mill turn, it's only going to, you have that option to cut rest material, and it's on by default, and you basically have to uncheck it to do like an entire profile if you're wanting to do a finish and there's no material there. Exactly the exact same thing is going on right here. So we're telling it just to cut only the rest material through the entire cut. So we're not wasting any time cutting air. Now, a new thing that they've added in here is the extend pocket to the stock. So what you guys can do now is you guys can actually add, let me kind of get this pulled over here. Oops. And we can get zoomed over here. Is you guys can set it up so it's automatically going to adapt to that stock for the open wall over here on the left side. So right now we have it set to tangent extension, and you guys can actually do closest point. Now, in this particular one, closest point really isn't going to do much for us because the closest point is the point of the edge of the stock. But if I just uncheck this here, you'll see that my blue box automatically updates for it, and it's only going to go right up to the edge of that stock. So you guys can have the option to extend the stock tangentially, and you can also add in a delta angle as well. So, maybe if you wanted to go 10 degrees, and it will extend it by 10 degrees. You can kind of see it updated very slightly here. Now, I can get into that. So like I said, we have the tangent, extension, or the closest point, and all based off of what you guys are looking for your extension there. Now, another nice thing that they've done in there is, so you guys are currently seeing my updated stock right here and with the areas that it's going to machine, along with the upper level and the lower level. Now, if this is something that you guys don't want to see in there, you guys can actually turn that off. Let me hop out of here. And let's go to our settings real quick. And now if we go down to iMachining, you'll see that there's a couple more features that they've added in here. So, like I said, so for the extension of the pocket, it's going to be defaulted to the closest point, but I can switch it over to tangent if I'd like. And then switching over to tangent for simple geometries. But the blue that we're seeing right here is the geometry preview. So I can do the blue model like you were seeing. We can just do a 2D wireframe, or we can select it as completely off. So if you guys don't like seeing that preview, you guys can shut that off if you'd like. Now, another thing I want to show you guys in here is iMachining, from 2007 up until 2018, or middle part of 2018, we always had to use a smaller tool to be able to fit in there. And it's about 180%. So if our slot is, a 1/4 inch, and we wanted to, or our slot's 1/2 inch, and we wanted to get in there with a 375, sometimes it won't calculate because there's not enough room to morph around in there. Well, you guys have the ability to change this now. So in here, by default, is going to be set to 170% for your helic ramp radius. But now you guys have the option to switch it over to the 110%, so you guys can fit that larger tool into a smaller cavity area now. So you guys do have that option there as well. Now let's say, I'm going to pick on Ronnie just because I like picking on Ronnie so much, is, Ronnie's like, I want it to be defaulted no matter what. I want it to default by feature by the chain instead of by faces. So I can come over here and do recognize by chains. So when I start a new iMachining operation now, it's going to be defaulted right to my recognition by chains. My preview is going to be showing the 3D model, and then showing the preview on the cam tree. I'm going to show you guys that next. And then I always, when I have an open pocket, I want to go from my closest point. Now, this isn't something new in here, but you guys can go in here and pick your default material as well. So, Ronnie's always cutting, Inconel. So he'll set his up in here as his Inconel material, or, we can do like A2 tool steel as a default material. So it's automatically going to grab our material there for us. It's going to automatically do it by chains, recognized by chains with the 3D model, and any open spots are going to be set to the extension to open points. So what I was mentioning, the operation or the geometry preview is right here. So I can come in here and just click on it, and I can actually see what's happening right here. And kind of think of it as almost like an updated stock for you guys. So it's only going to machine the blue areas all based off of our updated stock. So we have majority of the material removed out of there. Our top is faced off, looks like. So it's just going to machine that area as we specify. Now we can come in here and do a edit. So if we want to switch over to use something else, I can come in there and edit it, and I don't actually have to go into the operation. Another nice thing is if I'm using that same faces in another operation, you'll notice when you guys go and grab a geometry that is being used by another operation, it will actually lock you out of it. And it'll say this geometry is being used by another operation. Please exit operation and modify geometry outside there. That's what it's kind of saying right here is if I want to modify my faces, but I'm using that exact same face definition in another operation, I can right click from right here and actually edit it as well. Sorry, I gotta take a deep breath here. I'm talking so fast I'm forgetting to breathe. So, and you know, another nice thing with that is, let's say we are changing our model reference. We're doing this sister parts right here, and you know, I have a bunch of stoplights over here. Now, let's say I have a SolidCAM project opened up on a different window, and I'm just going back and forth. So if instead of opening up the operation itself and modifying these geometries that are in here, I can come in here, and this is a much faster way to go through and find all that geometries. So like this contour 7 right here. So we're looking right at it of what contour 7 is doing here. I can just right click and do edit, and I can come in here and modify my chains or delete them and replace them. So any questions with the geometry or anything like that? Okay. Now, inside of iMachining as well, let me just do the outside here. So like what we had before, on our main page, we used to have the geometry, and then you had the little checkbox down here to do the fixture protection. Now they've created a new tab for that as well. So it's all built into your geometry, and they just added tabs in here for you guys. So I can do a fixture collision against my fixture and against my target model itself. So right here, you can actually come in here and define a different model if you'd like. You can do it based off of your stock. Or like I said, you can pick a completely different model if you guys want as well. Now, with the target offset, what you guys can do here is, let's say our part is cut rate to nominal size, but our tolerance is saying +5 minus nothing. So what we can do now is come over to our target offset, and we can add a 2 thou 5/10. So when we go to machine this, we're going to machine it right at the nominal number and not at the low end of the tolerance. Hopefully that kind of makes sense for you guys. All right.
Did for me.
That's all that matters.
That's right.
Okay, so with the fixture protection, what it's going to do for you guys is it's going to look at the fixture itself and do a complete gouge check against that fixture. So let me close out of here for a second, and I'm going to edit my fixture real quick. And let's get where SolidWorks. And I'm going to modify my pin here, which is right here. Edit. And let's go with something that's going to definitely be in the way for us. Okay, so now you'll see that when I'm going to go machine the outside perimeter of my part, I'm definitely going to be running into that pin. And let me just turn on the toolpath, and you can see my toolpath going through that pin. So what I'm going to do is label this as my fixture, and do define. Grab that as my fixture. that. Now, one thing that a lot of people forget is they have to add it to their setup as well. So I'll add my clamping fixture, hit OK here. Now, you'll see as soon as I repick the new fixture, all these operations over here on the left need to be updated as well. Well, calculated, and the only reason they need to be calculated is because all these operations by default have that fixture protection turned on. So I can just do calculate all real quick. And you'll see as it's going calculating the path right here, it's completely avoiding my dowel pin now.
Kevin, we got a quick question regarding the geometry definitions. If those can be used in other than iMachining operations like profile and pocket.
Yes, you can, but only the contoured style. So if you're chaining something, yes, you can. I have not tried it with the actual faces itself. The only one that I would know that would be able to use the faces is the either pocket recognition or the pocket itself, because those are based off of the smart face technology that they've added in there. I would have to try that one out. But for the, let me open up the operation real quick.
When you're defining it as a chain, you're saying that it can be used in any type of operation that uses a chain.
Yep. So anytime we're generating a chain right here, most definitely we can. The outside perimeter is not one that can be used by any other operation other than the 2D iMachining. The legacy product right here can be used in other profile, pocket recognition, T-slot, pretty much anything right here. But like I said, with the faces, I have to still test that with the pocket recognition and the pocket itself. But with the feature recognition by chains, yes, that can be used in other operations just because it's using a physical chain to chain that part. Let's see. So now let me uncheck this and we'll do our iRough plus finish. And you'll see, let me just get a straight down view, that we're completely avoiding that entire dowel pin. Now, it is avoiding that dowel pin by, I think it's 1 millimeter is what I have set up in this one. So if I go to my geometry and target fixture, so I am doing a clearance, so that tool will not come within a 1 millimeter diameter of that dowel pin. Now, like I said, you can change it up to as tight as you guys want. So if we want to do like a 0.01 millimeter, which is super small, you'll see our toolpath crouched up even a little bit closer to that. So great feature to have. If you guys don't want it there, or let's say this pin is not a dowel pin and it's just some soft aluminum, then we can actually turn that fixture protection off so we don't even have to worry about it. So that's a nice feature to have there. Now, what they also did as well is they put the floor fillet in here for you guys. And the floor fillet was new last year in 2018. But now what they did is they stuck it in under the geometry. So, you know, the dashboard is really helpful and useful. But now with the whole feature recognition stuff, I'm finding myself at least not going to the dashboard as much anymore, just because my geometry is more of a regular place that I'm going to go to grab my geometries itself. So now, along with that is, if you guys want, you guys can actually disable the preview. So right inside the operation. So the blue highlighted area, let me turn off the toolpath, right here where it's telling us where we're going to cut, along with, yeah, right here, our updated stock. If I didn't want to see that just for this particular one, I can come in here and disable that. So it gives us a much cleaner look kind of like what we used to see with iMachining itself. Okay, now this has been in, all the stuff over here has been inside of iMachining the entire time. Before it was stuck in technology, but now they've moved it over to the geometry because we're kind of modifying geometry. So you can do a geometry fillet in there, so we can specify, you know, a fillet radius, how big, how small you want to go, percentage, all that stuff. So that's still in there. They just kind of move some stuff around to make it a little bit more user-friendly for you guys, as well as a lot of you guys were asking for this. Now, if you guys are going in here and not using all this stuff all the time, you guys definitely can come over here and turn off the advanced button, and it's going to limit this down for you. For those of you guys that use Android phones, well, I think even iPhones have it. They have the smart version, or what is it called? Easy view or standard view. So this would be your easy view mode. And if you're more advanced, then you would like to see all the buttons and stuff like that, you can definitely turn on the advanced. And that's going to turn on operations through the entire thing. So like for our levels, if I turn it off, it's going to get rid of my clearance and start level. So you can see right here. So if you guys are looking not to overcomplicate things and just looking for that simplistic view, definitely turn that off. But if you're missing something in there that you thought should be in there, just always look up in the upper right corner at that advanced. And that's just not for iMachining. That's going to be for HSM, HSS. I'm trying to think if we have it in pocketing, but always look in that upper right corner to take a look at that. All right, let me go through my notes real quick to make sure I'm covering everything for you guys. Okay, yep. So one other thing, or last on my list to show you guys here is, let me calculate all this real quick. And something that we haven't been able to do with iMachining, and this is going to come more benefit for the mill turn guys, is STL holders. So we've never been able to use the gouge detection with an STL holder just because it is more of a visual and not actual geometry that we can use off of. So let me just take a peek here. Let me grab one of these up. Oh, we'll just grab this top one here. All right. So I got my roughing and finishing up my pocket of my faces here. I'll go to Tool, select. And I'm just going to copy this tool. Make tool number 7, and we'll go over to the holder. And for those of you guys that are using a Doosan, you'll like this. And we'll use live. All right. So now we'll pretend that we're running this on a mill turn. I'm going to go to my topology and outside holder. Let's put that at 30, 30, and 30. So we're shanked up pretty tight on there. So we'll go ahead and accept that here. Now, the depth is right at 45. Let me turn off the toolpath here. So no matter what, we're going to be crashing into there, so we should be able to see it pretty easily. So like I said before, when we were to play this through in the STL holder, it would just keep going through it without any issues. So now you can see our STL holder in there. And it will take its first initial cut here. And there we go. So now we can actually see and get the alarm saying that there is a crash between our holder and our stock. that's going to be happening. And like I said, this is more kind of beneficial for you guys that are running this on a mill turn using your STL holders in there versus the milling guys. But you guys do have that option now to do STL with your full crash detection, where before that wasn't an option, and it would just keep machining through it just because with that STL. It wasn't with the module works, wasn't able to see that against there, so they added that in there for us as well. All right, do we have any other questions, guys? I don't see any. We'll just do that is pretty much it for the what's new in iMachining. Let me just go run through real quick my notes just to make sure that I've gotten everything for you. And through the entire iMachining, even last week, is there any questions or anything else that you guys would like to see? Yeah, it looks like I covered everything in the iMachining portion here. Anything else that you guys would like to see or be shown or anything like that, or any questions on, especially with the whole new feature recognition modes that we have in here? Not seeing any. Tim, am I missing any? I don't have the questions panel pulled out, so.
Yeah, no, I got it pulled up here. Looks like not getting any further questions on anything here. Trying to think if there's something here that comes to mind for myself here.
I did forget with the open edges, as you know, this dialog over here will change up as I'm switching into different modes. So like with my facing, even though that we have our stock with our stuff right there, we can actually offset our open edge as well. So if I wanted to offset that open edge an additional distance, you can come put that in right here as well as right here. So, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of the stuff that's in here is on by default, which I would say 75% of the time is going to get you exactly what you're looking for. So they try to set these defaults up for you guys that it's going to be the most commonly used. But like what we've talked about in the past is, let's say, you know, anytime I'm using an iMachine and I always want to cut the entire material instead of the rest material, I can uncheck that, and then I can save this out as a template, and then I can save that template out as a default operation. So anytime I start a new iMachining operation, it's going to pull from that template where this will automatically be turned off for you guys. So, all right, guys. Well, like I said, it was going to be a little bit of a shorter class, just kind of wrapping up the what's new with iMachining. Now, next week, we are going to be covering the new simulation that's in there. It is currently under the beta simulation. And the reason we have it labeled as beta is because every single day they are adding new stuff in there. So they just added in there last week the stock target comparison to see how the stock, kind of like our rainbow bar that we do the stock target comparison in Solid Verify. So I'll be going through all the new features of that next week for you guys. So, but that about wraps it up for tonight. And if you guys do have questions, definitely send those over to me via email or give us a call on the support line. And if I don't talk to you guys in the meantime, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
And Kevin, great job with the class again tonight, and appreciate you doing these for the customers. And as Kevin recommends, you know, get us your suggestions. Let us know what more we can do to help you guys out. Appreciate you all attending.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Have a great night.